Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second, and it makes a massive difference. I come before you today, ladies and gentlemen, because I am losing my fucking mind. There is now rumors that the Chicago Bulls, or at least Zach LaVine, are going to be making a trade happen that involves Zach LaVine, whether that is Zach LaVine wanting out because they have not fired Jim Boylen, or the Bulls wanting to trade Zach LaVine because they have not fired Jim Boylen. Basically, what this all boils down to is it appears at the moment, that the Chicago Bulls are actually genuinely considering choosing Jim motherfucking Boylen over Zach LaVine. And before I rant about why that is very stupid, and believe me, it is very stupid, I first want to put out a little bit of an I told you so. Because when this Reminisce guy joined the team, I was initially like, guys, let's chill the fuck out before we give this guy the key to the city, because all the Bulls fans were like, I hate Garpak so much, they're finally gone, this guy is clearly the Messiah. And I was like, look, we haven't really seen him do anything yet, let's just wait and see what he actually is, because we've seen the things that teams have done with him at the head or him in positions of power there, but we haven't known what degree he's been responsible for those moves. And if Reminisce's first decision as the president of basketball operations is to trade Zach LaVine and hold on to Jim motherfucking Boylen, then he's not good at his job. That's the end of the discussion. Like, this is not an improvement from Garpax if they're making a decision like that, because I've made a billion at this point rants about Jim Boylen, and I'm trying not to beat a dead horse, but I lose my mind if I don't vent about it every once in a while, because I am a huge Chicago Bulls fan, and this guy has terrorized my team for an entire year plus, and seeing him stick around is making me lose my mind, because the prospect of trading Zach LaVine because of Jim Boylen is insanity to me. Now, first of all, I do want to preface this because a lot of people take this the wrong way when I say that, because the argument is, when I say do not trade Zach LaVine, is why do you care if they trade Zach LaVine? He's not the first option on a championship contender. No shit, I never claimed otherwise. When I talk about Zach LaVine, I say that he's basically a more athletic CJ McCollum, and I don't think that's a controversial place to put him, which means he's probably the second best scorer on a championship team at the absolute best. And that is like a low bar pretty much. Like, I don't expect Zach LaVine to be a superstar player. I don't think he's going to be anything close to that. I think he'll be a fringe all-star player for most of his career. But that doesn't mean you have to trade him. Like, it's not like Zach LaVine has been good enough to keep us mediocre. We've still been bad. My argument is this team has the core and enough young pieces to be pretty solid, and I would just like to be an okay team for a while. I'm not that concerned about contending for a championship for the next few years. I just can't watch this team suck for much longer. Or at the very least, I can't watch this team suck with the expectations of them being okay. That's what really hurt about this season, was there were a lot of the players on the team and even a lot of people in the media, like I believe even Zach Lowe, said that the Bulls would be an 8th seed in the East, and that has not come true, obviously. They're not even invited to the bubble. They had a horrible fucking season. They signed a bunch of veterans, they got some exciting young players, they seemed to have all the pieces together. Otto Porter Jr. was coming back from injury, and didn't work out. Actually, Otto Porter Jr. basically was injured for the entire fucking season. Jim Boylen is the worst coach that I have seen at any level of basketball that I have watched on a consistent basis. Now, I am certain there are other coaches that are worse, but I have never watched a team with a worse coach in my life, at least to a degree that I can notice it. Because really, with coaches in the NBA, the okay ones, you really don't notice their impact on the game. The good ones you do, and the bad ones you do. The bad ones obviously negative, the good ones in a good way. I was just hoping that Jim Boylen would be a net neutral. Like, I was hoping that the weird mutiny thing at the start of him becoming the coach last season wouldn't really matter anymore, because it seemed like the players came around to him, and it seemed like the team was like cool with him now, but that has not been the case. Like, remember that Zach LaVine game winner against the Charlotte Hornets, a game that I could have been at, and I hate that I wasn't? When all of the players went up to celebrate with Zach LaVine after having 13 three-pointers and hitting the game-winning three after being down like 10 points and a couple minutes left, everyone went to go and hug him, and Jim Boylen tried to break into that, and they were just all not giving him a second of attention. Like, nobody on this team likes Jim Boylen. I mean, there was Daniel Gafford. He was on a stream the other day, and someone asked, what do you think of Jim Boylen? He says, I mean, he's okay. I'm not going to knock the guy. Which is like, if that's the nicest thing you can say about your head coach, that's a pretty bad sign. Like, he's okay is not a compliment. That's like him basically being nice about saying he fucking sucks, because he's a horrible goddamn coach. His rotations are trash. I mean, Daniel Gafford himself, he got injured, and the other team went down the other end of the court, scored, and Jim Boylen did not call a timeout. I believe this was against the Mavericks, and Rick Carlisle had to make one of his players foul one of our players so that Daniel Gafford could get subbed out. Jim Boylen refused to call a fucking timeout with an injured player. Like, what is wrong with you, dude? I could go on, and I'm trying not to do that, but I also need to get this video to 10 minutes, so I probably should go on, but the general underlying point here is, no, do not trade Zach LaVine, and fire Jim Boylen already. There's zero reason to wait. This second bubble doesn't seem like it's going to happen, so there's no incentive to tank. And even if there was, I don't even know if that would count towards the actual lottery standings. I think they're going to stay the same regardless. But regardless of all of that, I mean, how many times can I say fire Jim Boylen? Like, I even jokingly considered uploading a video on April 1st, just repeating the phrase fire Jim Boylen 500 times until the video got to 11 minutes. Like, I can't, my mind is, I'm trying to convey how stupid this is, and I really can't. Like, yeah, Zach LaVine is not some franchise player, but he's a very good player, and why would you trade the best player on your team to appease the worst coach currently coaching in the NBA? Like, that is not reasonable whatsoever. And Carnicevus, I forgot, I think it's Carnicevus is how you pronounce it. Please, for the love of God, just fire the guy. Like, if you fired him and then traded Zach LaVine, I wouldn't like it, even depending on the trade package, maybe I would, but I wouldn't like it. But I would at least be like, all right, this guy has a different plan, and it's okay that he's taking a different direction, because, I mean, the young talent on this team is nothing amazing. But if he if he trades Zach LaVine in favor of holding on to Jim Boylen, I mean, I've said it a million times, and it's probably not going to be true for me, because it's just an abusive relationship that I can't get out of, but I'm probably done being a Bulls fan if that happens, because it's not like trading Zach LaVine is anywhere close to the end of the world. That's really not a significant trade in the grand scheme of any franchise's future. But the pure stupidity of that is enough to make me be like, all right, I'm done. Like, it's not like the individual move itself it's not like the individual trade itself is mind-numbingly stupid, but doing that trade to hold on to Jim Boylen is mind-numbingly stupid. And I would just hate it so much. And I hate when I've tweeted about this, and people are like, okay, well, what would you take for Zach LaVine? I would take a deal that no one's going to offer. Like, there is no realistic trade for Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine has not proven himself that is going to be worth Zach LaVine and himself. Like, 2 years on his contract, he currently has the 18th worst win percentage of any player in NBA history, and that's not his fault whatsoever, like, at all. The Bulls roster this year was injured half of the year, and when it wasn't playing well because Jim Boylen's a dog shit coach. Before that, Bulls were starting Cameron Payne half the fucking season. I don't think I have to explain that one. Before that, he was recovering from an ACL tear and only played like 17 games. Before that, it was the Timberwolves, where Karl Anthony Towns was the best player for 2 years. The other one, Andrew Wiggins, was the best player, and he was coming off of the bench. Like, at no point in his career was Zach LaVine in a position to be winning games, and that's not on him whatsoever. And when people ask, what would you take in a trade for Zach LaVine? I would take a very good first-round pick and a pretty solid young player, but no team is going to give that for a player who's not proven himself. And I understand why they wouldn't do that. And, I mean, I don't expect them to. Like, I would want a top 5 pick in this draft, pretty much bare minimum, or a lottery pick next year that would pretty much be in that category, as well as a young player that has enough upside to be like, yeah, maybe one day this guy could be a star player if the cards are played right. And that's not something that people are going to be offering. And I understand, once again, I understand that they're not going to be offering that, but I don't want it. I don't want whatever the fuck you have to offer that is not better than that. And the prospect of the Bulls trading a 25 point per game scorer who's still only 25 years old, who's pretty goddamn efficient, who can very clearly be one of the best offensive players in the league. The prospect of trading that guy in exchange for like an okay first round pick and like a matching salary, I'll lose it. I'll lose my damn mind. I really genuinely will. Like, at the end of the day, this is all basketball, but that itself would just break me mentally. Like, I could not stand that. And I mean, I've gone through enough bullshit with this fucking franchise. So if this is the direction they're heading, then I guess I'm out. And I'm just gonna either not be an NBA fan, or I'm gonna be a Grizzlies fan because I fucking love this Memphis Grizzlies roster. But yeah, don't trade Zach LaVine. Fucking fire Jim Boylen already. Yeah, that's the end of this video. Bye.